Now we're going to be joined by a special guest. Just give me a second to pull up the name of our guest here who joins us live all the way from Plateau State. He joins us, and that is, he is the former executive director of Clean, and that's Mr. Peter. Mr. Peter, many thanks for joining us. We appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you, and my pleasure joining you on this great conversation this morning.
Thank you. A fresh cycle of insecurity and attacks, Bokos and now Bassa. What say you?
Well, if you know the history of Plateau and you go back to 2001, we've seen massive killing of women, children, and the aged in the last 20 years plus. And we've seen a gradual change in pattern and trends of this killing across the state. Initially, it was more in Jos South, Barrick in Ladirium. It moved to the southern part of Plateau, came back to the central part of Plateau, Bokos, Mongo, and then now Bassa again. And so this troublesome situation, a situation that we need to condemn in totality as a people. We've seen several government committees, white paper, and all this that has been put in place. But the killings have not stopped. We still have the president of STF that was brought in on board since 2000 or thereabout to mitigate and prevent this kind of killing, but it's still happening. And as the rainy seasons are approaching, we may likely see an increase in this kind of attacks and killing of community members, innocent children and women that have nothing to do with the conflict and know nothing about the conflict. So I think, to say the least, it's heartbreaking, it's disappointing, it's an issue that we don't need to keep discussing every time. And it's not even a Plateau issue alone. It's an issue that has engulfed the whole of the North Central. In Benue, there are several persons in IDP camp. If you move to Nasarawa in the past, we've had this issue. In Taraba, I mean, it's virtually every state in this country is suffering from one form of insecurity or other. But focusing on Plateau State, you know that Plateau State is home of peace and tourism. We cannot be talking about the tourism potential of Plateau. We cannot be talking about potato that Plateau is supplying like 60 to 70% across several parts of the country. And we cannot talk about yam and other products that come out of the state if we're talking about the incessant killing of women and children. And so I think government, in particular the federal government, need to do more. As we all know, state governors do not have control over security apparatus. I think there's no state governor that even have control over Boy Scouts in the state. And so you cannot control the military, you cannot control the police. And so all they are left is to make promises that without that backing of the federal institution, it's difficult for them to implement. So I think it's an issue that we need to go back to the drawing board and look at the security architecture of this country and ask ourselves, are certain cities more important than others? Why do we encourage these killings by our slow response? Now, the slow response I'm talking about here is the fact that we seem to be struggling to even prosecute people that have been arrested over the years. We seem to be struggling to even identify the perpetrators of this crisis. We've given them several names: unknown government, marauders, I mean, all manners of names. Nobody is addressing the real issues of who are the perpetrators of this crisis. And until we address the root cause of this crisis, we'll continue to be running around without identifying the solution to it. And even if it's just one life that is gone, it's an issue, much more of losing 50. I mean, it's only in Nigeria that we count this figure and still people go to sleep and feel that it's normal. And I think we've lost our sanity. We need to have a value reorientation. We need to ask ourselves, where did you miss it? And go back and trace it and get it right again.
Okay. Mr. Peter, I like the fact that you're actually talking about these very nuanced issues when it comes to security in Plateau State and the recurrence of all of these. Now, from last week, we saw a situation where the army and the police actually were clueless about what exactly is causing the insecurity there. Now, we also saw the governor give very strong promises. One has to wonder whether these promises are to be taken maybe with a pinch of salt, seeing that there is no idea exactly as to what's causing these attacks in Plateau State. So what is it like? Are the people actually convinced that these promises might hold water or otherwise?
Well, I think we must give the governor the benefit of doubt. He has shown commitment to peace on the plateau. He has reached out to various communities. He has opened up more space for inclusiveness and governance. He has created avenue for people to share their grievances and all of this. And so the only way we can achieve that is to give the
We seem to be having some connection challenges there with Mr. Gad Shamaki. Hoping that we can reconnect with him. He had earlier told that he might be having some problems with the connection since the network where he is a bit iffy. We hope that he comes back so that we can talk about the issues there in Plateau State. But he was on the verge of telling about the... Okay, I hear we have Mr. Peter back. Mr. Gad Shamaki, Peter, please, are you back with us?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay. Yes, we can hear you now. Please do continue.
Yeah, so I was saying that we need to give back and ensure that we support the government of the day in every way possible, because the government has shown the political will, and I'm sure Mr. President have made strong statements, and we need to give back and ensure that we're talking to the community. People must forgive each other. Security agencies must be firm and fair. They must provide security. I'm aware that it's not possible to provide security for every community and individual. But where's the place of intelligence gathering and collaboration and networking and sharing? Where's the place of community initiative to provide security for themselves in recognition and in partnership with conventional security? So I think we need to give the governor more support to be able to do more. Because again, the governor is closer to the people, just like we have local government chairman and councillor. The federal government is a bit far from the people at times. So I think the governor have made a strong statement. We need to back him up. We need to support him to ensure that these statements and promises made are fulfilled and we don't lose any other life again. Right, because you know that life is not what we can replicate once it's gone.
From what you said,
we need to give him the benefit of doubt.
From what you said, you actually just made one very little but interesting statement there. You said people need to forgive each other. Is this pointing to a factor, perhaps maybe the main issue is a cultural issue or conflict between the two, between cultures of any sort? Do we have intel as to exactly what's causing these attacks?
Well, it's men's population. At times it's difficult to hold on because people bring a bit of religion, a bit of politics, a bit of ethnicity, but above all is the criminality. That people have found it a lucrative business. It has become an industry. There are people that are benefiting from this crisis. And until we're able to identify such individuals, those shadow figures that we don't always see, those people that are in the background igniting and supporting this killing, we may not be able to resolve the issue. So it's beyond what we call armchair research or information that you just say this is it. Because the pattern has changed over the years, the approach has changed over the years, the attack and the intensity have increased over the years. So we need to do a comprehensive analysis and in-depth intellectual discussion and empirical fact need to be brought to bear for us to be able to say this is what the problem is. And once you don't understand an issue, you cannot provide solution to it. And the Plateau crisis is an age-long crisis since 2020. Since 2001 till date. We're talking about 20-something years of the crisis, so we need to be tired. And when we talk about forgiveness, is the fact that we as citizens need to forgive ourselves. We need to identify that common enemy that has been creating this problem. And my argument constantly is the fact that the entire people creating this problem, they are less than 0.1% of our population. But the difference between them and us is their their intentional approach to the issue, their dedication to their evil act, and they are very committed to it. While good people, we do kill, we go back, we're tired, we are not committed. So we need to get to that level where we take on this conversation home, we discuss with every stakeholder, we bring everybody on board, and genuinely want to address this issue. That's the only way we can get out of this crisis.
Mr. Peter, you're saying
yes,
dialogue would take us out. That's the only genuine way that will take us out of this crisis. But you also made reference saying that the chaos and the reprisal, or rather the re-emergence of these killings and these attacks in Plateau, years in the making, has now metamorphosed from what was an ethnic cleansing to now an industrialized terrorism. So it begs to ask the question about a preferred solution, a targeted solution to this problem. What then could it be if these attacks have metamorphosed from ethnical and religious attacks to now being industrialized terrorism? Mr. Peter, did you get what I said?
I think he might be frozen there.
Did you hear me?
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Did you get my question?
Miss your question, please. The network went funny.
Okay. Earlier on during your submission, you said that the attacks in the Plateau have metamorphosed over the years from ethnical and religious attacks to now industrialized terrorism, and that you said dialogue is key, where all stakeholders come together to dialogue. And then I'm asking, is dialogue enough? Because we've been doing this for over the years in the making, over a decade. What would be a targeted preferred solution to the issue now that the problem has metamorphosed and just ethnical cleansing to industrialized terrorism, as you've noted?
Well, basically, we must have the political will to do that which is right. Government primary responsibility is the protection of life and property, and government need to be firm, government need to be fair. And over the years, we've seen that criminals that have been arrested were taken out of town, and nobody gets to hear the conclusion of the matter. And so we must use a couple of persons as example to say that, look, we have zero tolerance for people that invade and kill innocent farmers, innocent rural dwellers, and people that make life miserable for other Nigerians. And when we are able to do that, we'll be able to address this issue. And we must look at this issue beyond just Plateau State. We must look at it as a national problem. When this issue started several years ago, if the previous government have addressed this issue, especially at the federal level holistically, probably this issue wouldn't have gone the way it's going at the moment. So our response must be holistic. We must come with everything we have to address this issue, because it's becoming a norm, it's becoming the usual, and we should not allow killings to become a usual in our community, especially when such communities are farming community that are feeding the nation, supporting the economic growth of the nation. So I think the federal government needs to do more in terms of supporting the strong presence of military, giving them enough equipment, supporting the manpower, encouraging the military to have the ability to want to carry out their work. Interagency collaboration is very important. But talking about what communities need to do is the fact that the killers travel from one community to another to their destination. So what are those communities that open their doors doing, and how can they prevent such movement? So we must look at this issue beyond just one particular location to say that, look, we are all Nigerians. We need to protect each other. We need to be each other's brother and sisters keeper. We need to give timely information to security agencies, and security agencies must respond promptly when they have this information. These are some of the steps we need to take. And government needs to pay compensation to people that have lost their properties or people that have been victims of this crisis one way or the other.
A multifaceted issue. You're talking about timely response or timely intel. But when the attacks are at midnight at a place where there are inaccessible roads and a network, a mobile network, it begs to ask the question how those people are going to get, rescued or saved in time. There's a lot there's that plays here at the fore, but I wish we had enough time to go into this. But Mr. Peter, I must say thank you. Gashimaki Peter, he's a former executive director of Clean Foundation. He's given us a bit of insight following the visit of Governor Caleb Mutfwang to Bassa community after the killings that happened at midnight in 2 of the communities in Bassa. Once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.